Have you ever seen a princess who wasn't happy? Not in a half-written fairy tale, nor a role played on a stage, but a real woman, flesh and blood, clothed in a royal title, living amidst a splendid palace, yet with eyes that always carried an inexplicable sadness. That is Princess Charlene of Monaco, or rather, Charlene Whitstock, the woman who once stunned the world by transforming from an ordinary South African swimmer into a princess in a royal wedding likened to a dream. On July 1st, 2011, as the world watched the lavish ceremony of the Monegasque royal family, all eyes were on the bride in a pristine white gown designed by Giorgio Armani. Charlene walked down the aisle like a fairy tale figure woven from gold and jewels. But not everyone saw that radiance as genuine. Amid the soaring hymns, some noticed her eyes, empty, adrift. And then she cried. People were puzzled, the media was puzzled. Yet a quiet explanation began to circulate in European tabloids. Charlene had tried to flee Monaco 3 times before the wedding. 3 times. Each time she was persuaded or forced to return. The details were unclear, but one thing was certain: something was wrong. From that moment on, a strange pattern emerged. Charlene seemed to fade from public view. Her appearances became rare, and when she did show up, her face looked drained of energy. It wasn't the poised aloofness of nobility. It was a loneliness she couldn't hide. Then in 2021, she vanished entirely. According to the palace, Charlene was suffering from a serious ear, nose, and throat infection and had to remain in South Africa for 10 months. But no one outside the royal circle saw her during that time. No hospital photos, no video messages, not a single verifiable detail beyond cold statements from Monaco's press secretary. Questions arose. Was Charlene truly receiving treatment? Was she confined? Or had she fled from something even more frightening than illness? For becoming the Princess of Monaco, Charlene Whitstock was South Africa's pride, an exceptional swimmer who competed at the Olympics and won numerous international medals. She wasn't born into luxury, but she had steely determination and discipline, qualities that made her stand out not only in sports, but also in the eyes of the powerful. In 2000, while competing in an international swimming event in Monte Carlo, Charlene met Prince Albert II, a man then 42, unmarried, and perpetually surrounded by rumors of a complicated romantic life. Their chance encounter between a swimming champion and a bachelor prince seemed like a romantic tale. But it wasn't until 2006 that their relationship was made public, after years of secrecy amid endless speculation. During that time, Charlene left her athletic career behind, moved to Monaco, and began learning French, royal etiquette, and aristocratic norms she had never been trained for. To Western media, this was the remaking of Charlene, from a strong, spirited South African to a discreet, polished royal archetype. The transformation happened so swiftly it raised suspicions. Then came the 2011 wedding, a spectacle among Europe's most extravagant in decades. The world followed every step of the Monegasque royal couple. The exquisite gown, custom-made by Giorgio Armani. The ceremony broadcast live, attended by over 800 distinguished guests from across the globe. Everyone anticipated a fairy tale ending, but beneath the jubilant atmosphere, rumors surfaced. Several French and Italian outlets reported that Charlene had tried to escape Monaco 3 times just days before the wedding. Once at Nice airport, attempting to book a flight to Johannesburg. Another time, allegedly seeking help at the South African embassy. And a third when she was persuaded or prevented from leaving the hotel where she was staying. The Monegasque royal family swiftly denied these claims, but they didn't vanish entirely. On the contrary, Charlene's somber eyes and tears during the wedding only fueled suspicions that something was deeply amiss. The press began asking pointed questions. Did Charlene marry for love or for duty? For a bachelor prince in his middle years, under pressure to produce a legitimate heir, this marriage seemed a strategic move. And Charlene, a young woman without aristocratic roots or political clout, might have been the perfect fit, compliant, unthreatening, controllable. But what no one anticipated was that Charlene wouldn't quietly disappear as expected. She didn't just remain silent. She gradually withdrew from public
Gehen
events,
beide eine Beziehung
maintaining
ein
a clear
und vor
distance
einem
from the
Jahr
royal family,
verkündet der
leaving a
Palast, die
question
Verlor
hanging in the air.
Albert persönlich
If a
die
royal marriage
Goldmedaille
is
um
every
den
girl's
Hals.
dream,
Nach dem
why did
Tod
this woman want to escape? Suspicious absences, a silent cry for help. Right after the 2011 wedding, The most surprising thing wasn't that Charlene became the Princess of Monaco, but how she seemed to vanish from that role. From a wedding hailed by global media as the biggest royal marriage since William and Kate, Charlene suddenly fell silent. No extended honeymoon, no flurry of community engagements. The press began to sense something was off. In 2011, mere months after the wedding, Charlene appeared far less frequently than expected. In a small principality like Monaco, every outing by the princess is easily captured. But images of her dwindled to obligatory events, her eyes cold and her expression vacant. The contrast with her radiant wedding day smile sparked public chatter. What's happening behind the palace doors? From 2016 to 2018, her absences became so frequent they felt abnormal. Charlene all but disappeared from Monaco's traditional events, be it the Grand Prix, National Day, or charity functions hosted by the royal family. International observers began to wonder, what was Charlene doing? Where was she living? And why wasn't she appearing with her husband? When asked, Prince Albert offered vague responses. She's busy with personal projects, or she's spending time with the children. But this ambiguity only fueled speculation. Some said she lived in isolation in a separate wing of the palace. Others claimed she frequently traveled to Switzerland for psychological treatment. French tabloids even cited insider sources, alleging Charlene only appeared when formally required and always under supervision. Then in 2021, doubts turned into global shock when Charlene disappeared for nearly 10 months in South Africa. The palace claimed she had a serious ear, nose, and throat infection during a brief trip, unable to return due to doctors prohibiting air travel. But these explanations met skepticism. No one saw verifiable proof of her in a hospital. No videos existed, only a few photos released by the palace, which media experts noted could easily have been staged earlier. During that time, international tabloids and royal blogs churned out theories. Charlene was trying to escape, undergoing treatment for depression, or even confined to a secret location. Some South African outlets suggested she lived in a private villa rented by her family, guarded tightly, inaccessible to outsiders. There were even whispers of a Cinderella kidnapped theory that she had planned to flee this marriage before the wedding, as the rumors of her 3 escape attempts suggested. But for political, reputational, and financial reasons, she was forced to stay. This time, in her South African homeland, she may have tried again, not a physical escape, but a mental withdrawal from the role of happy princess. When Charlene returned to Monaco in late 2021, many hoped things would stabilize. They didn't. She didn't return to the palace, but was immediately sent to a treatment facility in Switzerland, citing severe mental and physical exhaustion. A mother of 2 young children, absent for months, now isolated further. Even stranger, no interviews, no personal statements, not a single handwritten note from Charlene to confirm her condition. A complete chilling silence. Many asked, if Charlene was fine, why didn't she speak? If she was healthy, why not return home? If she was free, why not appear with her children? Those questions went unanswered. When she finally reappeared beside her husband and children, Charlene's image stunned the world. Her hair cropped close, her face stone cold, her eyes lost, a symbol of fatigue and surrender. A woman once a top athlete, a beacon of South African pride, had become an emblem of escape, of frigid marriage, Albert and his unresolved secrets. The question lingers, why would a woman like Charlene, once strong, decisive, sink into such profound loneliness? Could the issue lie not just in royal pressures, but in the man she calls her husband, Prince Albert II? Prince Albert has long been a controversial figure. Before marrying Charlene, he was known as a playboy in Europe's elite circles. Numerous affairs, fleeting romances, party photos, and most notably, 2 illegitimate children confirmed by DNA tests, both born before the wedding. Charlene was no stranger to his past, but many believe that when she entered this royal marriage, she thought she could start anew, where Albert would be a devoted father and husband. The harsh reality soon unfolded. Just a year after their wedding, a Brazilian woman claimed to have a child with Albert, a child born in 2005, never acknowledged by him. The matter was hushed, but European media whispered, Charlene knew this before the wedding, and it's why she tried to flee. The chill in their marriage became evident. No more hand-holding, no tender glances. At public events, Charlene often stood apart from her husband, her reluctance to smile unmistakable. Body language experts noted, she keeps her arms close, shoulders hunched, eyes averted, as if enduring a presence she doesn't want. Rumors of a tightly controlled palace life also persisted. Unofficial sources claimed Charlene had little autonomy. She wasn't allowed public statements, had no personal social media, and every word passed through the royal press machine. Even her international trips, like the 2021 South Africa visit, were closely monitored, easily morphing into temporary exiles. In a rare interview, Charlene said something that chilled the world. People don't understand me, and I can't fully express what I've been through. I just try to survive. Survive. A word no one wants associated with marriage. The deeper one digs, the less Charlene's story feels like a royal saga. It becomes a symbol of a reality many women in grand palaces face: isolation, pressure, and the fear of not being believed if they speak out. Where is she now? While Western media tracks every move of the Princess of Wales or the dazzling appearances of other European royals, Charlene, the Princess of Monaco, has all but vanished from the spotlight. There's little evidence she's living a normal life. Her public appearances are rare, each sparking waves of speculation. Gone are the elegant gowns and poised smiles, replaced by blurry photos snapped from afar, sometimes a small figure behind tinted glass, or hurried footsteps in a Swiss hotel corridor, rumored to be her recovery refuge. The famously secretive Monegasque royal family remains silent. No official press releases, no confirmations or denials about the princess's current state. All they offer are brief lines. The princess is recovering. Please respect the family's privacy. But in an era of smartphones and rumors faster than light, silence can ignite endless conjecture. Some sources claim Charlene and Albert have been unofficially separated since 2021, after her return from South Africa. They maintain royal titles and appear together when required, like a ceremonial performance, but no longer share a home. A darker theory suggests Charlene is battling post-marriage depression or a prolonged mental health crisis. Her long isolation in an alien environment, with little autonomy and intense royal pressure, is seen as the root cause. Her restorative retreats may actually be discreet psychiatric treatments, mandated by the palace. The most controversial theory, from French and German investigative journalists, posits that Charlene is being bought into silence through a financial and media deal. She may live quietly, away from the public, in exchange for not criticizing the royal family, revealing damaging details about Prince Albert, or exposing palace life. If true, Charlene isn't just a woman suffering in a cold marriage. She's a figure silenced by power and image, in a system where reputation trumps mental well-being. Consider this. Monaco, a tiny ultra-wealthy nation, lacks the free press of Britain or France. Local journalists rely on good relations with the royal family. Major companies are tied to the palace financially and politically. Anyone digging into Charlene's story risks ostracism, loss of sources, or lawsuits. Over the years, Monaco's people have grown accustomed to a distant, silent Charlene. But to the outside world, she's become the emblem of a 21st century unhappy queen. A Cinderella without a happy ending. A princess forgotten in her own kingdom. Signs of collapse? If Charlene's mysterious absences were once veiled as poor health, ear, nose, throat infections, or needing space to recover, in recent years, that silence has turned into a stark, icy divide between husband and wife. Since 2022, French investigative reports have raised doubts. Charlene and Prince Albert no longer live together. Though unconfirmed officially, palace insiders reveal Charlene spends most of her time at Rock Aigle, a royal mountain villa far from the Grimaldi Palace where Albert resides and works. Meanwhile, the prince continues his political and social duties in central Monaco, with his wife's presence all but absent. Notably, since then, Charlene often appears alone or only with their twins, Jacques and Gabriella, the future heirs to Monaco's throne. Though she maintains a composed demeanor, her face no longer radiates the pride of her early royal days. Each appearance prompts questions. Where is she truly living? How is she coping? During mandatory events, Monaco's National Day or major sporting occasions, The couple appears together but with no warmth, no hand-holding, no shared glances, not a single smile. They stand side by side like strangers, each looking elsewhere, departing separately. The media hasn't missed these details. Body language experts, royal journalists, and fans agree. Their relationship is cold, if not fully broken, then merely performative. What's happening behind those palace doors? On one hand, Charlene, the woman who swam oceans to win medals for South Africa, may be exhausted by a controlled, freedomless life in a tiny, high-pressure royal world. She once said she felt like a prisoner in a golden cage, a remark the palace quickly disavowed, but never forgot. On the other, Albert, the prince linked to illegitimate children, paternity lawsuits, and financial scandals, may have chosen a more independent path, avoiding unnecessary clashes with a wife who no longer shares his vision. No one says it aloud, but many understand. Charlene and Albert are maintaining a symbolic marriage to avoid damaging Monaco's royal image. In a nation where luxury tourism and royal stability fuel the economy, divorce is taboo. It's not just personal, it's a political fracture, a final straw in a dynasty already less beloved than before. But no matter how they mask it, signs of a broken marriage can't stay hidden forever. The public has eyes to see, hearts to feel, and the media never sleeps through gaps in a story. A solitary princess, a prince who sidesteps, two children raised by nannies, rarely seen with both parents together. The question now isn't, do they still love each other? It's, how long can they keep pretending? What's being hidden? Once a symbol of a modern Cinderella, Charlene entered Monaco's palace with the hopes and awe of millions. But now, the question haunting the public isn't about her lavish wedding gown or shy smile, it's, what's really happening to her? If Charlene is truly struggling with physical or mental health, why the secrecy? Why hasn't Monaco's royal family provided clear updates, as the British royals did for King Charles or Princess Catherine? Why do all details come from indirect sources, blurry, distant photos? Or worse, tabloid guesswork? This lack of transparency begs suspicion. Is the issue more than health? And if it's a marital rift, why not separate or divorce, as other royal couples have done? We've seen King Charles and Princess Diana, or more recently, Spain's Infanta Cristina. So why do Charlene and Albert, clearly no longer sharing a home, cling to the facade of marriage? The answer may lie in Monaco's unique monarchy, a tiny institution where the royal image isn't just tradition, but a vital national brand. Unlike vast kingdoms like Britain or Spain, Monaco is a microstate where lavish weddings, royal ceremonies, and photos of the prince and princess strolling with their children are diplomatic tools, PR campaigns to attract tycoons, luxury tourists, and global investors. In this context, divorce isn't personal, it's a political risk, a potential image crisis. It's no exaggeration to say Charlene may be a victim of a royal system that prioritizes optics over humanity. A system valuing perfection on camera over happiness behind closed doors. This is the tragedy many royal women have endured, from Princess Diana's lonely marriage in Kensington Palace to Japan's Princess Masako's decades-long depression under pressure to produce a male heir. Now it's Charlene's turn, the swimmer who braved icy waters for South African glory, now struggling to breathe in a life scripted like a play. But one thing sets her apart. Charlene doesn't speak. She doesn't rebut. She writes no memoirs. She gives no tell-all interviews exposing the royals. She chooses silence, a silence sometimes more haunting than accusations. In a media-saturated world, her quiet isn't escape. It's a warning that something can't be said or isn't allowed to be. So what's being concealed? Is it a tacit agreement that she can live apart as long as she plays Princess of Monaco when needed? Was everything orchestrated before the 2011 wedding, when French media erupted with claims of Charlene's 3 escape attempts? Or worse, is she paying the price for entering a world where the only exit is to never leave? Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. Princess Charlene is no longer herself, and the public, once lifting her as a real-life Cinderella, is now asking, did we romanticize her life, only to miss a silent cry for help spanning over a decade? Is Charlene truly happy in Monaco's palace? Does she find peace amid golden walls, lavish banquets, and dazzling spotlights? Or is her happiness a mere veil hiding a harsher life no one sees, no one knows? Her image storming headlines in 2011, a stunning swimmer, stepping from a fairy tale to marry Prince Albert, ruler of one of the world's richest nations, has faded into a darker path, a story without answers. What is the truth, and what lies hidden behind the gloss of royal life? If you were her, would you choose the crown or freedom? This is the question many are asking as they follow Charlene's turbulent journey. Does Monaco's crown bring fulfillment, or is it a shackle binding her to a rigid royal family's rules? And freedom, might it be the hardest choice, standing between true happiness and inescapable duty? With these uneasy questions, one wonders if a true Charlene is fighting alone in that glittering world. So what's really happening behind Monaco's gates? It remains unclear. Charlene's silence speaks louder than her words. We may not know exactly what she endures, but her story may serve as a stark reminder of what's overlooked, of truths buried beneath the dazzling facade we always see. A princess, a mother, a woman. Can she truly be free in such a tightly controlled life? Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think is happening behind Monaco's gates? Is Charlene trapped in an unhappy marriage, or is it merely an arrangement to protect the royal image? Will she find a way to break free or continue her silence, accepting the cost of her fame? Share your views below this video. We're eager to hear your thoughts on this enigmatic story. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.